Hey, my friend. Welcome back to The Cosmic Mystic. Danny Simonese here. In this video, we are getting into our sidereal astrology for the week of February 17th through the 22nd. We're going to talk about all the things that are happening. We've just stepped into Aquarius season last week. And as a matter of fact, I did a full podcast episode all about Aquarius season, how to use it for self-mastery. So some things that you can explore during the season and in your business. So you can download that podcast over on the Cosmic Mystic podcast. You can find it here on the YouTube channel as well as anywhere that you listen to podcasts. I'll have a link down below for you in the description box so you can grab that. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can come on over to the YouTube channel where we can see the charts and everything that I'm doing in much more detail. So we've got Aquarius season going on. Our moon just moved out of that full moon in Cancer energy as we kick off this week. We've got some new transits with Mercury, and Mars is preparing to go direct. Not quite yet, but very soon. So let's dive into our favorite thing to do, or at least my favorite thing to do, which is the state of the planets. Where is everybody hanging out as we begin this week? All right, let's kick off with our sun. You can see Mercury has moved away. We're at 6 degrees, so it's still considered conjunct, although it is moving away. And so we're really feeling that energy pull away where those thoughts aren't going to be so rampant. But we did just enter Aquarius season. So there's that, my friend. We've got, actually, as a matter of fact, I'll just say this, the Aquarius guidebook, which if you did not know, I put out a guidebook every single season. And the next two seasons, so, Aquarius and Pisces are going to be individual. And then starting with Aries, we're going to actually go full season. So we're going to do 3 at a time. We're going to do a spring version. So it'll have everything from Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. So it'll have all of that information in there. So go and download. It's absolutely free. I put it out every single season, and you can get all kinds of goodies inside that guidebook. And in the new seasonal ones, which is the spring, summer, fall, and winter, it's going to have even more stuff in it. So once you download one, you'll get all of the rest. So I have to give a little plug for the guidebook, because inside that guidebook, there are questions for you to explore the Aquarius energy. And there are some rituals that can help you if you struggle with sleeping, if you got all the racing thoughts, or you're trying to spark some creativity. There's some rituals in there that you can do that will help with that. So let's get back to the state of planets. All right, here we go. We've got our sun in Aquarius. We've got Mercury there also in Aquarius. Pluto in Capricorn. Our moon is beginning off this week here in Libra. Mars, you can see, is still retrograde in Gemini. Jupiter over here in Taurus. Uranus in Aries. We've got Chiron in Pisces, Venus in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, our North Node in Pisces. Got a lot going on there. We're going to get more Pisces energy coming next month. And then we've got Saturn in Aquarius. It is getting very close to moving into Pisces for the next couple of years, and then come back to Mercury. So let's talk about the sun, because we do have a couple of transits that will be falling off this week, which number one is that conjunction with Mercury. You're going to see that baby fall off beginning of this week, as well as this square over here to Uranus. This is also going to fall off here towards the end of the day on the 17th as we kick off this week. So that was really bringing in that open-mindedness, that flexibility, because there's a lot of uncertainty and things are just changing, and they're changing really fast. I don't know about you, but you've been feeling it, but things have been changing really fast and they're unexpected. And so there could be things that are now we're going to see as a repercussion of some of those things that happened. And whether those things were things that you wanted to happen or things that you didn't want to happen, there, we're going to see the repercussions of that coming in the next few weeks. Now, let's dive over to the moon and let's talk about the moon, where the moon's going to be hanging out this week because she has got she's coming through some really great energy this week. So we're coming off that full moon, so we're moving into last quarter before we enter new moon. So we are preparing for that last quarter energy. So usually following the full moon, if you follow the lunar cycle, the energy does start to drop, but it's not quite at that, new moon energy. We've still got really good energy here. And as we move through Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius this week, we'll really have that opportunity to finish up those last minute things. I always look at that energy from the full moon into the new moon as that opportunity, and especially up to about last quarter, usually is a really good time to finish up the last pieces of whatever it is that you set as your intention for this cycle. So we've got the moon here, as I mentioned earlier, with Libra. And so Libra is an air sign. So we've got an air sun and air moon. So look out, my friend, because all of the thoughts, all of the thinking, all of the conversations, there's a lot of very vibrant energy here, especially from the mental plane. And so I would highly suggest working with your mental body, doing some breath work, doing some journaling, getting the things out, having conversations, whether that's with friends, your mastermind buddies, or maybe even your healer, your therapist, somebody that you can kind of talk some of these things out with. And then we've got our moon moving into, now, one of the other things that's really good about an air energy, and Libra in particular, is it's able to see kind of both sides of situations. And this is always a good energy for researching and brainstorming because we've got a lot of those ideas flowing through. It's just a really good time, especially with Aquarius here, to really take the time to innovate. Aquarius is so good at being that visionary energy. And so if you're feeling stuck or stagnant in something, you can really use this energy to innovate, to come up with a new idea, to think outside of the box of maybe where you've been thinking. All right, and then as we move into, this will end pretty much Wednesday evening, about 8 o'clock in the evening, and then move into Scorpio. And so we'll see Scorpio through Thursday and Friday. We'll see the moon right there in Scorpio. So when the moon moves through Scorpio, this is a water sign. So this is where emotions tend to get a little bit more prominent for us. We get out of the thinking and into the emotion, which can elicit really good healing opportunities for us. It can also be really creative energy for us, or really digging down deep beneath the surface into things. So that researcher energy of really diving into something is really like going down the rabbit hole, let's just say. So going down the rabbit hole can be if you need to, right? If you want to, or if you get stuck on something and you're just like diving in, there could be this here. So I say that because the tendency for the Scorpio energy to get really fixated on something can serve us as well as challenge us. So keep an eye on this energy, because there could be some emotions that you're getting stuck in or fixated on that might not be the best for you, or you might consciously choose to focus on an emotion that actually is going to serve you. And then the moon will move out of Scorpio on Friday and into Sagittarius on Saturday. So Sagittarius is the fire element. It is the wanderer. It is the knowledge seeker. It's the one that loves to go out and explore. So as the moon moves through Sagittarius, this is a really good time for going out, exploring. And this is right over that weekend. So this is a good time to go hang out with people, to go explore something new, go on that hike if the weather is good for you, just to get out and really explore your places, your parts of your mind, just to really bring in that energy. This is also during a fire element is always one of my favorite times to tell you to sell your stuff. So if it is something that you have an offer for, something that maybe you might be leading up to for a launch or something, this is a really good time to sell that thing. Put it out there, my friend. Let people know about the thing that you have so that we can benefit from it. We all need your thing. All right, let's move into Mercury. So if we go back here, beginning of the week, we go to Mercury. As I mentioned, Mercury does pull away there from the sun. It also is going to be making this square over here to Jupiter. So let's talk about this square, because sometimes squares get the bad rap, but in this case, it's actually a pretty great transit. Okay, Mercury, well, Jupiter is more optimistic. It is a positive, maybe broader type outlook energy. And with Mercury, we're looking at allowing things to grow, allowing the ideas to really come into a bigger viewpoint or expand their capacity. So pay extra attention to how you are expressing yourself during this transit. Again, because Jupiter can be like that go big or go home type energy, it can actually serve us in a lot of ways, but we might just miss those little details. We might not be able to see all the things. There might even be some indecision here because we can't quite narrow down. Like, we want to be in that eagle vision. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but I'll get stuck in the details, right? It's like I'm going into the little details of things, and that I can't see the forest from the trees, right? I'm in it. I'm in the thing. And when I allow myself to come up into a higher perspective or a broader perspective, which is what Jupiter is here to help us do with this, able to help us bring in this bigger vision or this opposing vision in some ways, so that we can kind of take it all in and make some decisions. So if you feel stuck, and I learned this from Bob Proctor many years ago when I first started studying under him, was he had this exercise that he always challenged us to do if we were stuck on a problem. And it was a very like physical as well as visual activity. So he would recommend sitting at the dining room table and either writing down whatever the thing was that you're stuck with, or a representation of that thing, or just imagining that thing. And then you're to sit at one chair on the dining room table and just allow yourself to see that thing from that perspective. And then he'd say, okay, when you've sat there for a bit, move to a different chair on that dining room table and look at it from a different angle. Now, I can tell you that every time I've done this, I, start off with like, okay, what am I really going to see? Like, I'm looking at the same thing. But it's really interesting when you start to look at it from a different angle, legit looking at the thing from a different angle, you see something different. A new idea pops in, or you quite the way that you thought of it starts to tweak just a little bit, and it allows for this opening of new information to come through. So you might even, if you are working with your guides, to ask the questions in a different way. I am so adamant when I hear people, say I ask my guides, or I'm seeking information from my guides, and I'm like, great. What questions did you ask? What are you asking your guides? Because it makes all the difference in how you receive that information and the information that you're actually receiving. So use this one here to bring it up into a higher perspective where you can, or a broader perspective where you can kind of see things. The other thing here is there might be some over optimism. You might be wanting to be so optimistic about something that you're really missing those fine little details, or those, as I like to say, flags on the play. All right, let's move into the next one I want to talk about with Mercury, which is the trine on the 20th here There we go, with Mars. So this one's pretty much going to play out for about 6 days or so, where the Jupiter one's going to play out till the 23rd. This one will play out till the 26th. So Mercury and Jupiter gives us, because Mercury is such a fighter and it's quick, right? We're going to see quick thinking here. Really, like, our mental acuity is quick and it's fast, right? Our ideas are really coming through really quick. Our opinions are very at the forefront. Like, we want to express them, we want to share them. This is the time where I say this is where all those debates come out. This is where negotiations come out, and really allowing your mind to pursue different things. It's like, I want to learn this and I want to learn this now, right? And so this is also really good for writing, speaking. This is also a really good time to do that, making decisions really quickly and swiftly. So be mindful of that depending on the situation, we can use both of these, right? The Mercury with Jupiter and the Mercury with Mars to see the bigger picture, to make a quick decision, right? So if you're stuck, come up into that broader perspective, and especially with this Mars energy, be able to make a really quick decision. On the flip side of that, you could be making quick decisions, right, that are where you're down in the things and you're not quite seeing the full picture. This is a really productive time, which I'm excited for, because we're going to move through things pretty quickly in this next week. All right, the last one I want to bring in that's coming here at the end of the week on Saturday is this conjunction here with Saturn. Now, Saturn always gets that rap. It's the Debbie Downer. It's the, I often say it feels like a cloud, dark cloud over your head that you can't seem to shake no matter where you go. But Saturn and Mercury really bring in focused thinking and critical thinking, for that matter. Mercury, this energy sharpens your mind for more of the responsible tasks, more of the seriousness to things. So some of the things that can come through this, if it's not directed at productivity, because Saturn's like, let's get things done, and Mercury's like, let's move it fast, right? We want to be mindful that we're being productive, because if we're not being productive here, on the flip side, Saturn's going to be like, you lazy, POS, right? Like, what are you doing with your life? And you can have that like energy come through with this of like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not enough. I don't have all the things. I'm never going to get to all the things. All of those negative thoughts can come through. So this is something to pay attention to. If you start to feel that, you're like, Mercury and Saturn, y'all are hanging out. Y'all being the Debbie Downers here, right? Think about this. I'd like to use this. I think it's such a good visual of the two planets in the house together. So Mercury's hanging out in its house, it's doing its thing. Saturn comes to visit, and Saturn is like that friend that is the Debbie Downer, that is like, well, you can't do that. You've got to be responsible, right? All of those limitations that they have upon themselves that they project onto you. And it's like, I was really excited about this. Like, I was moving. Like, think about this. You've got this bigger perspective with Jupiter. You're moving with Mars, and then Saturn comes in, and you're like, well, there goes that idea. Okay, we want to know, okay, Saturn's coming. Saturn's coming over. Like, that friend's going to come over. That family member's going to come over. That's going to rain on your parade, okay? So how are we going to prepare for that? Because we know that that's going to come. So what can we do? We can use this energy to really focus in and really sharpen that energy. And we can also know that there's these other things that could be potentially happening. Now, the really beautiful thing about when we have the Debbie Downers in our life, it's a way for us to realize, wow, is that how I think? Is there something in there that I believe, especially if we take it on? If we take on those beliefs from other people, then there's something within us that might really resonate with that, even if it is on a subconscious level. So this is an opportunity for you to notice, like, why, why is that? I'll tell you, there was a conversation I had with a former mentor of mine who is not my mentor any longer. It was not a good match. And, when I would get on these conversations, and it was always this dreaded thing of like, oh, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And I'm like, wow, I felt compelled to share a bad thing that had happened or something that I was challenged with, because it was like I needed to fit into that energy and into the conversation. And so that is definitely what this can do. So like, it was an opportunity for me to realize like, oh wow, I'm getting sucked into that energy. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. Like, I was looking for ways that my life was bad because I felt I needed to with this person, right? When I was in conversation with this person. The best way to use this energy, though, is for patience. You know, Mercury can be really quick with that Mars energy, it's moving fast. Saturn here is going to slow it down a bit and allow us to bring in that patience, bring in more of a sound judgment, really think about the long-term planning, the long-term goals, being really mindful of that detail energy. So that's really a beautiful way that we can work with this energy to really think about long term and where we're headed and what we're doing. This is also really good for mentorship. So offering support, offering wisdom to people that you have based on the experience that you've been through. This is a really good time to share that, especially with people who, you know, maybe you're in a certain place within your business that you can mentor people who are newer in business or in your field, in your specific field, or even younger people who are getting started on that career path. And then let's move into Venus. I was like, we just talked about Mercury. Let's move into Venus. So Venus really doesn't have anything new coming in, but she does have some things that are coming to an end. So Venus and Pluto have been hanging out for a bit. I'm going to come on over here. They've been making this sextile here since back in January. This is coming to an end. So we're no longer going to have that a bit of a mysteriousness here, right? Where I mentioned that, you know, you might find yourself going a little towards the dark side of things, especially in relationships, or being really hidden or mysterious about things. That's very common. That is all coming to an end. Now, we also have the sextile with Jupiter that we've seen here for a while, and that's going to continue on all the way through March. So there's nothing really new here that's coming in this week. We talked about this last week, where Jupiter is really bringing in that fun and happiness and joy and socializing type energy. All right, let's talk about, you know, nothing really happening big with Mars this week, although Mars is preparing to end its retrograde. So Mars will complete its retrograde period on the 23rd, will be the last day here of Mars being in retrograde. So we're going to see that come to an end starting next week on the 24th, when it moves out of retrograde and everything is moving forward. No planets will be in a retrograde position. You can see here, no red. We don't count the noids. I was going to say the noids, and I literally said the noids. I meant the nodes, the lunar nodes. Those are mathematical points. They are not stars or planets or asteroids. So all of our planets are forward motion as we kick off next week. So we'll talk more about that next week and what that means and when the next retrograde is coming, because we've got two coming in March that you're definitely going to want to know about. All right, my friend, this is what I have for you this week with Sidereal Astrology. If you are looking for more support in how to work with this energy, especially within your business and on your journey of self-mastery, I would love to be your guide. We've got Sacred CEO, which is my #1 program, my favorite thing. I'm putting all of my energy into this week, where strategy and soul meet. So we look at strategies in your business that fit your rhythm, your sacred rhythm. And then we also look at doing that deeper inner healing work to really help you come out. This last month, we did a healing around our rebel energy and what we are rebelling against within ourselves. It was a really beautiful healing mixed in with some somatic breath work. So if you are into any of that, if you're like, yes, this sounds like fun, check it out, because the price of Sacred CEO is going up very, very soon, most likely at the end of February, potentially in March, but the price is going to significantly raise. So if you want to get in now, be sure to get in now. All right, my friend, have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you next time. And remember to keep shining your unique light.